So I said when I was filming this, I thought it'd be best if I did like a mix of high-end and affordable, some different finishes, and not all like from the same brand. Like, oh, I love all these MAC highlighters, because that would be just boring. Anyway, I'm going to start it off. I'm going to talk about my top 5 best, what? I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite highlighters first. And then I'm going to move on to the ones that I don't like as much. So these favorites are in no particular order, but my first favorite highlighter, the one that I've been using so much lately and was dying to get my hands on when it first came out, and I missed it, but then when it came out and was made permanent, I was like, I need that in my life. And it is the highlighter Oh Darling from MAC. My highlighter fell and I was like, oh my god, don't be broke. Not broke, it's all intact, but it comes out of the pan, like it just falls right out. Kind of like a gold champagne-y color that's very warm. I highly recommend this for anyone who has kind of like a sallow-y, kind of olivey kind of complexion, or even if you're like me, I don't know what I am complexion wise. I'm an NC 35 to 37 in MAC. That's my natural skin tone. So if you're in or around that, this will look lovely. If you are paler, I would not recommend this because it's gonna look very gold on your face, like very obviously gold. And I think if you have really deep skin, this is gonna look gorgeous on you, like gorgeous. Like it is magnificent. Look at that there. Oh my god, it's so pretty. It's one of my favorite highlights that MAC has ever brought out. So my next favorite, now this one is a favorite of mine, but I kind of get annoyed sometimes with the packaging of it because this is my second Becca highlighter that has broken, and this is Champagne Pop. This is a beautiful highlight. Now I can still use it. I'm wearing it today on my cheekbones. I haven't worn this in a while actually, but I do love it, and every single time I wear it I'm like, oh, it's lovely. It is a very overhyped highlight. It is worth the hype. It is super pretty. I will just put it just there on top. A little bit like MAC Oh Darling. Like there's not a huge difference between the two of them. MAC Oh Darling is a tad bit more gold, whereas this is a tad bit more champagne. I wish I could just show you it. Like, it's so hard to show you because it's so broke. But that's the two of them beside each other. You can see this is kind of more like a peachy tone to it, whereas this kind of has more of a yellow tone, more golden. The only reason I feel like this can be worn more by different skin tones versus the MAC one is because I feel like there's so much yellow in this, so much warmth, that I feel like it'll just be too overpowering on pale skin. Whereas I feel like if you use a light hand with this, a really light hand with this, on pale skin, this will look fabulous. But definitely all the way up to deep skin tones, this looks amazing. I'm gonna move on to something a little bit more affordable, and this is the Wet n Wild Boozy Brunch. Now, I'm sorry guys, is this still impossible to get hold of? Because anytime I used to mention this a couple of months ago, even last year, people were like, it's really hard to get hold of. So now I'm just kind of wondering, is it still hard to get hold of? Because if it isn't, pick it up, get it, get it, get it. It looks really unusual. Like when you look at it, you're like, oh, there's a bit of pink in that and there's like a little bit of brown in it. But when you swirl all the colors together, you get this gorgeous golden hue. We can kind of see there's a theme going on here. This one, oh my god, it actually looks so like the other two. Oh my god, I actually have issues. All my favorite highlights look the same. This is different on my skin tone, I will say that. It does pull a little bit different than the other two. It's gorgeous. Sensational, beautiful, really blinding. I can't say any more good things about it. I highly recommend you guys pick it up. I know Wet n Wild have come out with some of their new highlights. I still like this. I have a couple of their new highlights as well, but I like the formula of this. There's just something really nice about it on the cheeks. Didn't realize it was so similar to the other two, but there you go. Now I'm going to talk about an oldie but a goodie, and I still like this. Like I still really like this. This is my first ever highlight. It introduced me into the world of highlighting. I feel like this was most people's first highlighter. This is the Mary Luminizer. Again, this is like my second one of these and it's broke. I just feel like it's a really kind of delicate formula. That's what this one looks like. So in comparison to the other two, this is definitely a little bit more of a like a white gold. I don't know how I would even explain this because they're just highlights. That's it there in the bottom. So you can see it's a little bit brighter. There's a little bit more white in this, I would say. I feel like this can be worn by the majority of skin tones. It might look a tiny bit ashy on deep skin tones. I still love it and I still highly recommend it. And if you haven't picked it up, go for it. Why not? What are you waiting for? Now, my final highlight that I think is an ultimate favorite of mine is the Laura Geller. This is Gilded Honey. I've waited for so long to get this and I got it maybe a year and a half ago. And the second I got this, I was like, I know why I love this highlight. Like this is just insane. Wait till you see this, guys. Ugh, blinding gold, beautiful. definitely a theme going on here. Like, to the naked eye, to the kind of trained eye of highlights, they all look the same, but to me they all perform differently on my skin. And looking at them there now in the back of my hand, I can kind of see the differences between all 5. You're probably looking at it going, you are mad, girl, you just bought 5 of the same highlights. They're all identical, but they do look different on my skin, I promise you guys. And I use them all on different days, and I'm like, what highlight's that today? This looks different. You know, it's not all the same, but I can appreciate the fact that you guys probably think that they all look identical. This is a beautiful highlight. I highly recommend it. I think Laura Geller is now sold on Beauty Bay, Cult Beauty, somewhere like that. It's not too hard to get hold of anymore. This used to be impossible a couple of years back, and I had to get it from Ulta. At the time, shipping services, all the range, you know yourself. Okay, this is a favorite highlight, but the only reason I'm not saying it's like an ultimate favorite is because I haven't had it that long, but I feel like I really need to mention it. This is a little bit of a lighter, not so much blinding highlight, and this is the highlight Dandelion from Benefit. I haven't fallen fast and hard for a highlight like this one in a while, and I'm kind of shocked at myself because it is not a usual highlight that I would go for. It's very subtle, like very subtle, and it's kind of more on the pinky side than it would be on the golden side. It looks very blah to the naked eye, but when you put this on your face, you can see there kind of the bottom. I'll try and do a bigger swatch because maybe you can't. There you go, it is at the bottom there. There's something different about this than the other highlights. The other highlights are like, wow, blinding, you can see me from space. Whereas this one's more like, my skin is glowing, it's really fresh. I look like I've been to the spa all day and my skin is just replenished and beautiful. That's what this looks like. It just looks so fresh on your skin, like you have a natural glow going on without looking like really shiny and kind of intense like what I have going on here today. So it's just so subtly beautiful. And I would include it in my top 5, but like I said, I don't have it for that long, so I can't really say like it's an ultimate favorite, but it's definitely up there. And I'm very surprised at myself that I like that highlight as much as I do, because I feel like it's just so different to something I would be interested in. Okay guys, we're gonna move on to my misses, or my top worst highlights. I hate even like mentioning these, because I feel like all highlights are going to be appealing to somebody in some way or shape or form, but these are just stuff that didn't work out for me and I don't like them. The first one I'm going to talk about, I actually broke the lid off it, and this is from Wet n Wild, and it's like a quad of highlights that you swirl together and put them onto your cheek. I have never gotten this to work for me, ever. Like, I just feel like this looks horrible on my skin each and every time I use it. It's so powdery and dusty looking, and it just never comes off so nice. I'd mix this kind of gold shade here at the top, a little bit of the pink shade, so that would be kind of like my go-to highlight. And it just doesn't do anything. Like, I don't know if you can see that there. It just gives you like this sheen. It's not like the Benefit sheen, you know, that kind of youthful, fresh, glowy skin. This gives you like, I don't know what it gives you, just powderiness. That's all I can say. It also emphasizes texture, which I found very unusual from this, because any of the other Wet n Wild highlighters I've ever used never do that. This is called Catwalk Pink, by the way, just in case you're wondering. You can see chalkiness that's in this grabbing onto my skin texture and just emphasizing it, and it does not look cute on me. No way, shape or form. Now, I know this next product is to be mixed in with foundations, and I've done that, and you can mix it in with your moisturizer, and I've done that too. But you can also apply this to the tops of your cheekbones. I do not like this product. This is from Rimmel. It's their Good to Glow Highlight and Illuminating Détente. And like I said, you can mix it in your foundation with your moisturizer or apply it to the tops of your cheekbones. It says it's an instant buildable illuminator and highlighter, light reflects pigments for radiant luminous look. The reason I don't like this is it has massive chunks of glitter in this. Massive. I don't like the applicator either, because I feel like if you're going to apply this to the top of your cheekbones, I feel like these flat top squeezy tubes are a bit annoying. I prefer something with more of a point, kind of like that, where you can kind of like dab on a little bit. I feel like this gives way too much application. So I'm just going to show you on the back of my hand. Like, it's not too brightening. You can see that there. This is the bronzy one. I also have like a pink one. It just doesn't do anything to my skin. It doesn't like illuminate my skin or anything. And there is like this glitteriness to it that you can't really mix with your moisturizer or your foundation, because it just looks like you've got glitter stuff going on in your skin, and I just don't like it. I don't understand it. The shade also kind of goes a bit patchy on my skin too. So if I apply this at the tops of my cheekbones, I can kind of see it like a bit patchy. If I mix this in with my foundation, again, I can kind of see the glitter and patchiness where some of it has mixed in with the foundation, some of it didn't, and no, I don't understand this highlight concept and I don't like it on my skin. The next highlighter that I'm so sad to mention, because this is another one of my first highlighters, but since kind of discovering other things, I'm like, I'm not really into that anymore. It's the Stila Kitten highlighter. It's a duo that looks like this. Miss Shanaxo totally enabled me to buy this. She raved about it and I was like, oh, I'll give that a go, I'll try it. And I was like in love with this. I think my whole reasoning for actually liking this highlight is because she liked it. The problem I have with this is it's a very dry formula and you really got to dig your brush in. You really have to dig your finger in to get any sort of payoff, and it just ends up being a little bit chalky, a little bit powdery, not really as pigmented as you would want. That's it there. It does give like a nice glow to the skin. This one here, the darker side particularly. The lighter side I'm not keen on at all. It does give a nice glow and hue to the skin, but it's just so dry. It's just an extremely dry formula that I'm not into, and I can even see where I've basically scratched off the top of the product to try and be able to get through to the actual product itself and apply it easily. So too dry of a formula. If it was more kind of, I don't know, moist, like buttery and creamy on the skin, I would definitely reach for it more, but because it's so dry, no, not so much. Okay, this highlight saddens me to mention because I do like most of Inglot's products, but it's this highlighter here on the end. I like this one, not this one, it's this one here. For the life of me, I can't remember the number of it, but I will write it down down below which shade this is. Now the gold one I do like, this looks lovely on my skin. The issue I have with this is it's so powdery and chunky and dry. You can even see, look at this. You can even see particles of the product coming off of my finger. I don't know if that's even evident on camera. I don't know if you can even see that there, but look at all the chunks just on my finger. And you can even see them in the palette, just chunks fall off. So it's just an extremely dry formula. I feel like even when I use this on my cheekbones, it's so dry, I just can't deal with it. It is a very nice shade, that's it there, but it's so dry and powdery, chalky, and it looks dry and chalky on your cheeks as well, which is what I don't want. The gold one works a little bit better on my skin. It's a little bit more like buttery, kind of creamier on the skin. So I don't know what happened with the lighter one. I don't like it. I did say probably in one of my Inglot videos that I do enjoy these highlights. It's the gold one that I like more, and I've only discovered that the lighter one does this recently. So I don't know, maybe the formula got a bit weird or something in my collection, but it's not good. It's super powdery, like everywhere, dust. Final highlight that I'm not crazy about is for the same reasons, kind of chalky and dusty and powdery on my cheekbones. It just doesn't look nice on me, and it's from Makeup Revolution. They brought out a couple of highlights, and this one's probably the only one I'm not crazy about, and this is called Ice Kiss Highlighter. It looks like that, so it's white, but it's not the shade that I have the issue with. It's the kick up of powder and dust that comes off this. It's so not my cup of tea. You can see it's quite blinding there, like it is quite a nice highlight in comparison to the rest of them, but you can see all of the glitter particles that are in this on your cheekbones, and it really grabs onto texture, like so much more than any highlight that I've ever even mentioned today. It's extremely difficult to get this right on your cheekbones. I feel like maybe it's the shade, because the other two are formulated exactly the same. One's like a peachy tone and one's more of a golden tone, and they look fine on me, but this one for whatever reason just kicks up so much dust, and it just looks really like chalky, like just chalk. It's not a very dry, consistent, like the formula itself is not dry, but when it's on my cheekbones it looks dry and chalky and just not great. So that's another highlight that I'm not crazy about, and I would pass on that one. It's the most blinding one out of the rest of the ones I've talked about today, because they're kind of poor in pigmentation. They're not really bright and blinding, but I just feel like even if they're not designed to be bright and glowy and in your face highlights, like maybe this one, they should be nice and illuminating on the cheeks and make you look fresh and radiant. Whereas I feel like they just make my texture look exposed, and I can see it like sitting on my skin, if that makes any sense. And then some of them have huge glitter particles in them, particularly the last one there, the revolution one, makeup revolution one. Thank you so much guys for checking out today's video. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'd love you guys to become part of the fam. And yeah, if you have any more requests or any more videos that you guys would like to see in the best and worst series, or overall anything you would like to see on my channel, please let me know, because I love getting you guys' requests, because it just helps me out so much, because I know what you guys want to watch. Anyway guys, I'm gonna head off now, gonna edit, upload, and I will talk to all of you very, very soon. I love you guys so much. Mwah.